What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tater Too Real, where we always keep it too real. And today I want to talk to you about CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and let you know which one I would rather have if I was an NFL owner. First, let's start with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud entered Ohio State in the class of 2020 as a four-star prospect, the number 2 pro-star quarterback out of Rancho Cucamonga High School in California. CJ was also the number 4 player in California and the number 42 player nationally, standing at 6'3", 215 pounds. Entering Ohio State in 2020, CJ redshirted. In 2021, he threw for 4,435 yards, 44 touchdowns to go along with 6 INTs. While also adding negative 20 yards rushing, the team finished 10-2 with losses to Oregon and Michigan, and he capped off that year with a spectacular performance against number 11 Utah in the Rose Bowl game, a game in which he threw for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns. Going to 2022, CJ Stroud threw for 3,688 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 6 INTs. To go along with 108 yards rushing, the team finished 11-2, with losses to Michigan 45-23, and a loss to Georgia in the college football playoffs 41-42, a game in which he threw for 348 yards and 4 touchdowns without his 3 best players, which were Cade Stover, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Guys, this was truly one of the most spectacular performances all year from a quarterback, as he was down his 3 best pass catchers, and he still went toe-to-toe to Georgia. Ohio State almost lost the game by 1 point. They was in it to the very end, and they very could have easily won that game, guys. If you guys watched the game, you will know that Marvin Harrison had 106 yards and 2 touchdowns by halftime. So not having him for an entire half, along with Cade Stover, who went out in the first quarter, along with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who didn't play the whole year, guys, this was pretty spectacular to be that close with Georgia. Moving on to Bryce Young. Bryce Young committed to Alabama in the class of 2020 as a 5-star quarterback out of Modern Day High School in Santa Ana, California. He was also the number 1 dual threat quarterback in California, and he was the number 2 player nationally, standing at 6 feet, 194 pounds. In 2020, Bryce Young redshirted to Mac Jones, but he also still finished with 150 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Entering 2021 was his first full-time year as a starter at Alabama, a year in which he threw for 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns to go along with 7 INTs and 3 rushing touchdowns. They finished this year 13-2 with losses to Texas A&M 41-38, and they lost in the national championship game versus Georgia 33-18. But this was also the same year that Bryce Young won the Heisman. And guys, to touch on that real quickly, this was the year Bryce Young separated himself as the clear-cut number 1 quarterback in the nation. He was winging the ball all over the field, and he was just truly playing on another level. Mini Russell Wilson, in my opinion. Entering the 2022 year, Bryce Young threw for 3,328 yards and 32 touchdowns to go along with 5 interceptions, along with 185 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. The team finished 10-2 with losses to Tennessee 52-49 and a loss to LSU in overtime 32-31. And guys, quickly to touch on that real quick, Bryce Young was hurt a game this year, so he didn't really play as much as he did last year. They had more games last year. He didn't play as much, like a game or 2, I believe. And guys, he still had a pretty damn good year. He also finished the year with a bowl game win versus Kansas State, a game in which they just absolutely blew him off the field. He had 321 yards passing and 5 touchdowns, and Kansas State was ranked number 9 at the time. And guys, to make a quick comparison between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, the main thing that jumps out is that Bryce Young does a lot of off-script things. And by off-script, I mean he doesn't just sit in the pocket and try to make the pass. He's willing to go outside the pocket. He's willing to scramble if need be. He's willing to use his legs. And that's the difference between him and CJ Stroud. And if you go back to their recruiting profile, CJ Stroud was a highly ranked pro-style quarterback, and Bryce Young was the number 1 dual threat quarterback. So it makes perfect sense from that aspect that CJ Stroud is more of a Deshaun Watson. They can run, but he'd rather sit in the pocket and try to beat you with his arm. He's always trying to look downfield. He's making his first, second, and third reads. He's trying to get the ball out. Whereas Bryce Young is more of improv, should I say. He's gonna try to extend plays. If it's not there, he's gonna run. He's gonna do things that are off script, guys. And if I was an NFL team, it all depends on my personnel around, right? If I'm a team that's more of a run heavy, that likes to run the ball, I'm going with Bryce Young all day long because he's an extension of the run game. If the run game is not working, you can do things to get the quarterback in space or set him up to take those running lanes. Whereas CJ Stroud is more of a Joe Burrow type of mode, where they're just trying to sit in the pocket and just kill you with their weapons outside. He needs to be on a team where they have a proven receiver or two, to where he can just sit in the pocket and do his thing. He's a smooth operator. He has a smooth delivery. And CJ Stroud, in my estimation, is very underrated on these drafts board, because people are acting like Bryce Young is just head and shoulders way better than him. And that's not true. CJ Stroud just showed the whole world in that game the other weekend versus Georgia that he has a new element in his game that he hasn't been able to use much at Ohio State, and that was the element of his legs, guys. We saw it versus Georgia. He had some key runs on some big downs, and he also went outside the pocket more so than ever, guys. And if he's able to do that with the weapons they had on that field versus Georgia, guys, his potential is a lot higher than many people think, guys, because if you're talking about just a pure passer of the football, CJ Stroud is a little better than Bryce Young. I'm not going to say he's way better, because he's not. He's a little better than Bryce Young. But the reason why I believe Bryce Young separates himself from him in this argument is that he can do both things at a high level. He can pass the ball at a high level, and he also can extend plays at a high level. He can get outside the pocket. He can run. He makes smart, sharp, sound decisions with the football. And guys, if I'm an NFL team, I would be happy with either one of these guys. But if you force my hand to pick, I would have to go with Bryce Young simply off the legs, guys. He can extend plays. He can make defensive coordinators stay up late at night to figure out how to contain him or keep him in the pocket. So I will have to go with Bryce Young. He's more of a Russell Wilson, back when Russell Wilson was using his legs and good. And CJ Stroud, to me, he's more of a Teddy Bridgewater. He's more of a Joe Burrow. He's more of one of those type of guys, Deshaun Watson. He's trying to beat you in the pocket, guys. He's not trying to take unnecessary hits. He's going to get the ball out fast. He got a smooth delivery. He's accurate. And he can just do everything you need as a quarterback, as a pure passer. This is your boy Tater Too Real, where we always keep it too real. Holla.